Almost everyone knows that you can get drastically cheaper mobile phones, smartwatches, clothing, security devices, accessories, and more when you shop from China, with many of us being able to shop for almost anything for less on sites like AliExpress, Banggood, DHgate, GearBest, GeekBuying, JoyBuy, Light in the Box, and Shine. However, online shopping from East Asia has admittedly hit a few nasty snags recently, with coronavirus disrupting shipping routes and trade in between countries, as well as recent VAT debacles along with the rising cost of shipping containers. There's also been many reports of other shopping horrors along the way. Despite this, it's still possible to grab some massive bargains and generally save your money, especially when you're careful and don't fall foul of shopping mistakes. Stay tuned as we're going to show you how to save big, reduce your risks, and help you abide by the new rules when buying from East Asian sellers. First tip on saving with sellers from China is to buy direct. This is where a lot of products are manufactured, as well as being the place where products can be bought direct from distributors via websites such as AliExpress and GearBest, with many of them even offering free shipping, which is by far one of the greatest pros when shopping online with them. These sites, much like sites like eBay, don't actually sell anything themselves, but they instead act as a middleman to third-party sellers, and they simply handle the customer and payment side of things. AliExpress, which is part of the Alibaba group, is the largest of the Chinese shopping sites, and there's thousands upon thousands of sellers with literally millions of items on sale there. Because of this, it also means that it's super easy to become lost down a rabbit hole of things whereby you buy loads of crazy stuff you never knew you wanted or needed. I myself have been prey to tons of fashion bargains and fashion disasters from retailers offering super popular outfits for crazy prices, so make sure that you have specific items in mind so as to not get lost down the rabbit hole. You should also look out for Chinese marketplace sellers on things like Amazon. It should say fulfilled by Amazon on the page, which just means that those products are stored in Amazon-owned warehouses, and any customer service issues will subsequently be handled by Amazon rather than their seller themselves. The first question we should be asking at this point is, what should you avoid buying? There are some great offers to be had shopping from China, like I've said, but it's worth stating at this point in the video that there are some things that you have to be aware of. Namely, certain products and brands may not meet the standards expected. Imported goods may have been made in China, but those that are brought to market in the UK, of course, must be tested to UK standards. As an example, toys might not be tested to either UK or European standards, so you won't find the UK CEA, that's the UK conformity tested, or CE Conformité Européenne marks on these. Without these marks, they could possibly contain toxic chemicals or materials, or even have small parts without disclosure, or even be flammable. You should also make sure to avoid buying things like makeup or beauty products for these very same reasons, as the UK in particular tests beauty products to a very high standard, while China does not have these same standards in place. Similarly, manufacturers could potentially use harmful and toxic substances in their products. Sunglasses also have to be tested for a certain level of UV protection, so look out for these also when buying from China. Second thing to look out for is fakes. Unfortunately, one big thing to look out for when shopping direct from China is the risk of counterfeits or knockoff products. And these can easily slip through the net, especially on big sellers. While AliExpress and DHgate have stringent rules against fakes, it's often best to steer clear of luxury or high-end items, or at least maybe stay aware that you likely won't get a 600 pair of Gucci shoes for 35 quid. Therefore, it's usually wise to stick to unbranded items and products, unless well-known Chinese brands such as Xiaomi or Huawei, or those from an official or flagship store. Even then, they can still be counterfeit, but that's simply the risk that you take. You can always get your money back if the item you received is fake, at least with retailers like AliExpress. AliExpress does have authorized resellers, but you'll often find that these are similar prices to the UK, so you'll likely be as well buying here and avoiding those long postage times. The third thing you should look out for is the not so hidden costs. A lot of the time, shipping and delivery is actually offered for free from plenty of Chinese sites, but be aware that this means it will be on the slowest possible route, and it's often with the cheapest delivery methods available. Sometimes you'll be charged delivery fees, which often puts many people off. However, if you want the item quickly, for example in less than 6 weeks, then you might actually be better paying that little bit extra. Another factor to consider is that heavy items will sometimes come with a hefty shipping fee, which often makes those savings disappear very quickly. In that case, it's of course easier to actually just buy from the UK. However, what more often makes the price skyrocket is added VAT, as well as customs and handling fees. Before January 2021, goods from China with a value less than 15 quid were exempt from VAT, meaning that small items often slip through the net without any charges. Sadly, those times are long gone. Now you'll need to pay 20% on all items, regardless of price or where it's coming from. Obviously, what tax you pay depends on the price of the item, but you still shouldn't pay customs duty unless the item or items together are worth more than 135 quid. Thankfully, sites should add this VAT onto the final prices before or at the checkout. However, if they don't do this, I suggest buying instead from a site that does, as it's now illegal for them not to add VAT on at the point of sale. Handling fees, meanwhile, are add-ons that come about when the VAT or customs duty hasn't been paid and the shipping courier instead holds onto the item until it's paid. Then you'll need to add on a fee too, which is around £6 to £10 depending on the courier. The Royal Mail handling fee, for example, is £8. Another point that needs to be brought up is that of consumer rights. In the UK, we have consumer rights when we shop online or in store, which means that you'll automatically have 14 days to cancel and or return the order. Consumer contract regulations means that you'll have the right to cancel unless the item itself is perishable or personalized, which makes a lot of sense. We do have guides in place on the Hot UK Deals site, for example, that can guide you through your rights as a consumer in the UK, and that's definitely worth a look. However, you simply don't have this luxury when you're using Chinese online shopping websites. Admittedly, some of the bigger sites have their own consumer or buyer protections, but it doesn't give you any rights by law. You can, of course, often settle disputes and get your money back via AliExpress if your item doesn't turn up or is very late, but faulty items need to be sent back, and it's often at your own expense. Unsurprisingly, this is often more hassle than it's actually worth. Next thing to consider is Chinese New Year. Chinese New Year is the largest festival of the year in China, and it can and will always have a massive impact on your shopping experience. Lunar New Year starts around February and will last for the whole month, and it simply isn't a good idea to buy anything at all from China at this time, as almost everything is closed and it takes much longer to be shipped and arrive with you. Items last year were reportedly taking up to 12 weeks to arrive, which in the thick of it means that it's really more often than not worth the savings. These factors in mind, how do we actually buy from China? Choose the seller wisely first of all. As a rule on the Hot UK Deals site, we only post sellers with 95% plus positive reviews who've been in operation for more than a year and have 300 plus sales within that year. This way you're much less likely to have issues with them, and if you do, all you have to do is get in touch with them and they will try and sort it out for you, as they'll want to keep their hard-earned reviews positive. Nextly, size matters. When buying clothes from East Asian sellers, remember that the sizing is very different to in the UK and Europe. For example, if you're medium here, then you're likely an XL or more in China. I for one have heard these hilarious stories of people receiving what looks like children's clothes because they didn't take this into consideration when ordering. And I've definitely also ordered a couple of jumpsuits and whatnot that barely even fit over one of my legs. But I digress. To avoid buying expensive items. If only to save yourself some nightmarish hassles with shipping companies like the Royal Mail, you should only spend what you can actually afford to lose. Sometimes products will be faulty, other times they might not be delivered at all, whereas as we mentioned, VAT and customs fees can often make a cheap smartphone become only an average smartphone very, very quickly. As we've already mentioned, if something looks too good to be true, then as the old adage goes, it probably is. So use your common sense and your well-honed shopping instincts when you're buying from Chinese sellers, as there are some really good fakes out there which would often fool most people who don't know what they're looking for. As a rule of thumb, don't buy anything that is massively below the RRP, as it's more than likely counterfeit. Nextly, be patient. Shipping from East Asia is always going to take a while, unless it's sent via expedited methods. Often it takes up to 6 weeks on average, and it's sometimes more. On marketplaces like AliExpress, some sellers can even have free 10-day shipping, which is fantastic. On the other side, lots of Amazon sellers will be available via Prime delivery, so you can actually expect it the next day. Nextly, always use PayPal or a credit card to pay. When in doubt, always use PayPal to pay, as you can often claim back lost money much more easily, or especially if you're making a higher purchase, such as one over £100. Make sure that you check out the PayPal guides over on our site for more information on this. As we've already mentioned, Chinese sellers are rapidly becoming a mainstay in the shopping environment in many Western countries, and of course the UK is no exception to this. With the growth of Chinese-specific shopping holidays like Singles Day, which is often touted as the Chinese rival to Black Friday, many more people are specifically turning to Chinese sellers so as to better cut costs on items such as fashion and electronics. AliExpress itself made $155 billion in sales during the festive period in 2020, and with international brands like Nike, Adidas, Apple, L'Oreal, and loads more participating. Despite the risks that we've outlined in this video, there's still massive bargains to be grabbed. Have you already bought from any East Asian retailers? Which one if so, and which one is your favorite? Have you grabbed any absolute bargains as a result of this? And are there any which we've not featured in our list here? Don't forget to let us know in the comments what you think, and make sure that you like and subscribe to our YouTube channel here so that you never miss out on all of the best ways to save money. Thanks for watching, and happy shopping from Hot UK Deals.